There are actually kind of 5 key steps to lean working and lean thinking. Very important because this again lends itself to how we work in agile teams nowadays. Totally, understandable, totally practical, and very much relatable to what we are doing right now. So first and foremost rule is basically define the end customer, the end user value for a specific product. So it's all about the product that you're working. Again, related back to what we said initially about agile thinking, it's the product thinking, not project. So you're thinking products, you're thinking releases, you're thinking milestones, you're thinking about delivering a set of features or a feature, you're thinking about customers and users and the contexts of usage. This is what we call the design thinking, the systems thinking, product thinking, right? It's quite opposed to what we were thinking before in traditional way. It's all project thinking. The project thinking, yes, it is important even now, but there's 1 or 2 persons who look at that. The team, we as a team don't have to worry about the project thinking. We need to make sure that we own the product, we commit to the product estimates, we deliver, we own the product that way, right? So, and that's the whole idea of why we need to deploy some of the tools like Lean, Kanban, Scrum. These are really powerful tools that would help us really apply this on a day-to-day basis. So we need to think in terms of specific capabilities and benefits of a feature, for example. If you want to really look at it, you can't just be generic. You can't just be thinking about, oh, I can use this phone, but what in the phone you're trying to use? Is it to call? Is it to try and send a message? Is it to try and do a specific functionality via a mobile app? So that's the kind of thinking we should adopt. We should start thinking a specific price point, a specific time of release, specific time of usage. All of these are specific. You're not really trying to actually shoot something, arrows in the dark. We're actually trying to be as specific as possible with what we're trying to work on, right? So that's important. And Lean again advises us to identify the entire value stream for each product. So when you say a value stream, that's a very important concept in Lean. It's called value stream mapping, which is a technique. It's about identifying where in the entire life cycle are you trying to create value, the value generation. So the value is basically, as we discussed yesterday, is from the perspective of the customers and users, not from your point of view or my point of view. If you understand the customer's needs and the opportunities and their challenges, constraints, then you're in a much better position to clarify where the value gets created. And that's where the product realization come in, the order fulfillment, production, all of these, in the context of the entire life cycle, right from the design stage or the requirements analysis stage, all the way through design, architecture, low-level design, development, testing, user acceptance testing, deployment, all of these, the whole delivery life cycle, you would try and understand where it really fits in. That's the real, again, takeaway for us from Lean thinking. And then make the remaining value steps flow. Once you have decided where the value gets generated, you understand where the waste is. Where is the problem that we are actually trying to put too much fat in, where we've got a lot of waiting time, a lot of excess inventory, a lot of processing, which is not required. So if we understand this, then it's far easier for us to understand where can we add value in this process? Where can we try and add more value, more thinking, and more productivity? That's where we should not have any waiting time, no downtime. And that's why with a web, for example, if you just look back about 10 years ago, a website to be able to be up and running nowadays, the availability of any website is 99.99% according to some of these ISPs or even the cloud providers like Amazon. Amazon, in fact, the only instance when they actually went down was last 2 years ago. There was one instance where they actually went down, where the EC2 instance is what they call. It went down for a good, I think, 10 minutes. And because of that, the whole of the gamut of applications, including Facebook, Instagram, and some of the other productivity tools like Salesforce, all of these went down. They actually were not available for that brief 10-minute period. And because of that, apparently, a lot of productivity actually got affected. You know why? Just because that particular application was not available. The whole of the cloud, the EC2 instance of Amazon that went down for 10 minutes. And if you actually look back for about a good few years, 5 years or 10 years down, you can't rely on technology. I mean, every time, if you want to just log on to something, they used to be say like link down, sorry, it's not available, network down, or internet down, or even their application is down. But nowadays, with more and more technology, more and more networking functionality available, you've got this uptime, as what we call the availability, is being increased. Back in those days, I actually remember the SLA, that is called service level agreements. When we try and get a contract with the customers, we say this is a service level agreement, so we sign up. So we used to actually say that downtime is basically about 10 to 20%, which means the application, we are committing that the application or the product that we're developing is available around 80% of the time, and there is a possibility that it can go down 20% of the time, which means every 2 days in a week it's not going to be available. Think about that scenario now, which is totally weird, because now we're thinking about always on, always online kind of a thing, right? The whole thinking and mentality and the way of working for us is that if it's a website, it is supposed to work and be available 24/7 by 365 days in a year. And that goes on. There's no such thing as a downtime. If something is not available, then it's a problem. So downtime is a big issue. And if you're thinking about your product, whether it's a web or a digital product, you should think in terms of any possible potential downtime, how you can try and address that. And then any scrap within a between steps, any things that are unwanted, unnecessary, unwarranted situations, unwarranted handoffs, a lot of excess documentation, all of those are reasons for us to kind of remove the waste and make sure that the value is increased and waste is decreased. And this actually is pretty relevant even in the context of what we are looking at now with the environmental, more and more people are talking about climate change. We are looking at businesses and people more aware and more conscious of environmental issues, ecological aspects, and how we should fight off the climate change. And so they're talking about reducing the bio waste, right? How they should reduce plastic consumption and creation of plastic, and try and more organic, more natural ways of, or more biodegradable ways of generating these products, or creating these products and using the products. So lean is pretty much very commonsensical that way. It talks about all of these. It was started about 30 years ago, and it still is relevant even now. Very powerful way of working and way of relating to things. And continuous flow, again, it's important we have this flow continuously, which is again linking back to Kanban. We talked about how we look at the flow and not just about the discrete ways. So very powerful. And then the important thing there is, again, design and provide what the customer user wants only when the customer user wants it, not before, not after. So it's about the timing. So again, going back to the ways of we are working. So we used to actually order those things. We used to go to shopping centers and things like that. We department stores, and then we order something, and then they say, oh, this is not available. Or even if you place the order, it'll come to you after about 5 weeks. So the cycle time or the lead time for that, from the order to the delivery, is 5 weeks. And I remember all those days. And even if you want to place an order online back in those days, about 7-8 years ago or 10 years ago, it used to take a long time for you to actually deliver that. But again, fast forward that to about 2019, 2020, here we are here with Amazon Prime or these kind of things, where you order, you get it tomorrow, because the need is there, right? It's all about the needs of the customers and users. Where they need it, when they need it, deliver it then, not 10 days later or 10 weeks later. Then the whole need is not there, right? So it's all about what we call as JIT. The JIT is a concept of just in time. So just in time. Don't worry about all the inventory, creating all the products, all the fans, all the stuff that you create beforehand and keep it in the inventory and wasting the time, wasting the money. Instead, try and generate something on the moment where it is consumed. And that's why by that process, you're trying to reduce the inventory, the cost, the quality, and everything is going to be improved. Quality is going to be definitely improved that way. And let the customer pull the product from the value stream. That's the whole idea of pull theory. So we're talking about pull theory, which is a very, very important, again, in the context of lean. It talks about you don't actually push things onto the customers or users. You don't actually give them too many things and then push by force. Let them pull by need. If they need it, they'll pull it. If they need it, they will buy your product. If they need it, they'll use your product. So there's a huge difference in terms of a paradigm shift in terms of how we operate, how we think, and how we deliver the products and services to our customers. Again, if you look at internet, it's all about pull. Even though it is available online all the time, you would open a website. For example, you're trying to buy something, that's when you open it. If you want to watch some movie, then only you open Netflix or Amazon Prime. If you want to chat with somebody, that's when you open, for example, Facebook. So there is a need that you have. You're trying to express some need, communication, transportation. You don't call a taxi driver, or you don't call a car to just like that. No, I want to just go out and then have something. So I would like to just call a car. No, you have a need to transport. You want to go there somewhere. There is a job, or there is something. That's when you actually call an Uber. So there is a need for innate that is all in all of us, and that's why we would actually use all these products or services depending on our need, and that's why we pull these services when we need, not being pushed onto us by these people. So it's all about that. Even DevOps, for that matter, is about the streamlining of the development with the operations. So the development would actually continuously use the development techniques and make sure they deliver the pipeline. Through the pipeline, they can deliver the functionality in a smooth way. So you don't have to really, keep pushing things, but when the time comes, they would actually push it through the pipeline into the production environment that gets used. So again, very, very important in that context as well. And then pursue perfection, very important. Perfection is all important. We all need to be perfect, but is it really, really possible in terms of achieving that? Well, we are not perfect, right? So there's no perfect human being. Everybody has got flaws. Similarly, every product, even if you deliver, even in the first iPhone that was done in about 2007, 2013? 2013, I think, was when the first iPhone was delivered. It's supposedly the best iPhone in the market, but they keep improving. There are no less than 13 phones that came through, 13 different models that came through. There's perfection there, and they're still working on that next version. So there's no point about achieving perfection. It's all about delivering that and getting better and better and better. That's where the value will go really faster. So that's the whole idea about